We are camera speeds. So thanks, Bob, for meeting with
You're
me
in
today.
it.
Yeah, I'm in it. You're in it. We're in
Okay,
it.
good.
We're talking. We're live.
Sounds good.
I appreciate you taking time out of your day to do this.
Not a problem.
You will be the first person that I've interviewed that I haven't bought lunch for.
I just bought lunch for you.
Yeah, you just bought lunch for like 60, 70 people.
Lunch is still part of it. We still include lunch.
So I wanted to, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this with you is that you're not a photographer, you're not in the photographer photo industry per se, but I mean, you've had a huge impact on my career as a photographer. I mean, you've been supportive of me from the very start, whether it was networking with the right people or, hey, talk to this guy, you helped me get some gears, getting me in touch with the right folks. And that's been huge. But also my tenure here, Commercial Collection, although it was a career that maybe wasn't necessarily suited for me, there was just a mountain of information that I didn't get in school that I got here, whether it was working for you, the legal department, collections, what have you. And, frankly, it's an experience that I wouldn't trade for anything. So, I want to thank you for that. But I think that you have a little bit of a Jack Welchian way of approaching business, that being, you hug while kicking, but also that business is business is business. Mm-hmm. So, just kind of curious to know a little bit about, I know you had a military background, bank, now collections, Bernie. I know a little bit about the history, but I'm kind of curious to know a little bit about, what drives you, which I know monetary is certainly...
It's all about money.
But it's not, though.
It's all about money.
I don't think it's all about money.
It's all about money. It's all about continuation of the business, making sure the business continues to grow. It's the basis of this. We have 60, 70 people that work here, and it's our job to make sure that we keep the doors open and keep everybody working and gainfully employed, and that we offer a company that has value to our customers. So while it sounds cliche, it's the only way that you can operate a business. And I've been here for 35 years, so obviously that's been part of the same philosophy for all that length of time for me. So when you talk about my background, it really is, military is 4 years, and all I did is learn how to grow up. The bank was, I learned how to operate within a Fortune 500 business. I worked for Chase Manhattan, which is a big bank, and I learned what being a clog in the wheel and being in a position of doing one thing right. It's kind of like working at Kentucky Fried Chicken. You didn't learn a variety of jobs. You just learned how to do one thing. But you also learned how to operate within a structured environment. And then coming here, I learned from Bernie about being an entrepreneur. And when you put the Fortune 500 and the entrepreneur together, is when the business then becomes successful, because you can change on your feet, you can change fast, but you also establish rules and chain of command and things that are important to continuation of that business and growing with the best people possible. So.
Yeah, you always, I don't want to say you, not undermine, but you do downplay, I think, a little bit about your military background. You are, I don't want to say an avid historian, but you enjoy history, you enjoy particularly the Civil War. I kind of think of you as a bit of a general within the organization. I mean, you have great leadership qualities, and that, I think, is huge as to anyone's success in business. If you look at any of the top people in any field, they have strong leadership qualities, and there's different things that come with that, whether it's confidence or being able to communicate effectively with people, understanding what your goals are and conveying that and having people reach their potential. Those are all really, those are very nuanced things, and they don't come, I don't think that they come naturally.
Well, they very well could. I don't believe that either, but I'm sure there are natural leaders. I mean, William Wallace was a natural leader, and I'm sure he didn't go to any management schools. And he led a uprising in Scotland for the entire country. So there are people that are born with those skills, but when you're in business, you tend to learn those things, and you tend to learn by experience, good experience and bad experience. The military, as I said, taught me to grow up. Taught me what it is, a chain of command is. Taught me I work for somebody, and my job is to provide the best service I can to that person. And when people work for me, it's their job to provide the best service back to me. So you learn how that operates, and then you take that into the business world, and you take it into a company like this. I worked for a guy for almost 20 years that was the owner of the company, the president of the company, and my job was to make him look good and grow the company. So this is Kim.
Should I grab it? Let it roll. We'll let it go
let's
to
get
voicemail.
a copy into this.
Well, I don't. One of the things, two things. One is I don't edit. Who is this? This is not CeeLo. Is this CeeLo?
No. This guy's father just died this week.
Really?
Yeah, it's Robin Thicke.
Robin Thicke. Oh, that's right. I think I did see something on that.
Yeah.
I forget to do this every time, and there's two things to this. One, I don't edit these, which is what makes these segments sort of quick, easy, portable, very low tech. But the other factor into that is that there's no post-production or editing. And I'm very new to this format, so something I screw up at almost every episode is the introduction. And this is Robert Ingold.
Well, you should edit.
Well, no, it's live.
You should learn
It
how to
always,
edit.
well, eventually,
Yeah, you should
it
learn how
we'll
to edit.
matriculate into that. But this is Robert Ingold. I didn't know your title because you've changed a little bit, but you are Chief Executive Officer of Commercial Collection Corporation here in Tonawanda. I'm Stephen Gabers. I had the privilege of working here at Commercial Collection for 10 years, actually, my first real job, if you will, out of college. And he's also happens to be my father-in-law.
Good. That's a good introduction.
So I love, that was a really good explanation as to leadership roles and what have you. One of the things that I learned from, I think, being here and not working necessarily directly in sales, but working in a corporate environment, and being fiscally not conservative, but fiscally responsible to a greater good, is this notion of no. You have to learn no a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think in any walk of life or anything that you do, whether you're trying to cold call, make sales calls, or having creative ideas for projects, you're going to hear no way more than you hear yes, and you're going to fail way more than you succeed. But it's learning from those failures and figuring how to pick yourself up and move on to the next project or the next call or whatever it is. You must employ that to some extent with your staff. I mean, I know I've seen it, and it's like...
Well, there are two sides to that coin. I never say no to a client. A client will come to me and say, I need this, or whatever it happens to be. My initial response is always, we can do that, and we'll figure out how to do that, and let us work on that, and we'll get back to you on it. You could do anything for the right amount of money. And you can always price it in a way that makes money for you, no matter what the client asks for. Whether they want to spend or not, that's their choice. So you hear no from the client, we don't want to use your services, we don't want to use your service anymore. That's where you get the no. I don't want a client ever to hear no from me.
Right.
No, I can't do that is not in our vocabulary. And when a client says, I need you to do this, our response is always that it's going to, it may take a little longer.
Right.
The Vince Lombardi, the impossible takes a bit longer, and that's exactly the way we view things here. So when you say I know how to do no, I don't really like to say no, and I don't generally say no.
Well, I think I applied that more so to the internal operations. Someone might have an idea to do something, and it's like, yeah, that's a good idea, but you need to couch it until we're able to vet this. Because again, you said, as you mentioned, we're fiscally responsible to a greater good, which is keeping the doors open.
Oh, absolutely.
But it has to be done in such a way, a tactful way, that we're not crushing the creative soul of a person, if you will. Mm-hmm. And that's a very tactful thing to do. But I do love this notion of like you said, with your responsibility to the client. It's like, no, we can't do that, or we don't want to do that. It's like, well, you can get away with that a couple of times, but not very many.
No, maybe if you're General Motors,
right.
You can get away with it.
Or Tesla, maybe.
Yeah, but I don't believe you can get away with it in a small business, particularly in a relationship business, which is what we are. People think we're a collection business. We're really not. What we are is a relationship business, and we develop relationships with clients that we give them assurances and confidence that their accounts receivable or whatever their product is being handled by us from a position of we care, we want to do good, and we want to have good results. So the only way that can happen is if we present ourselves in a very positive way. We never present ourselves in a negative way. I can't collect that is not a word we say. It's just, even when we send a closing letter and tell them we can't collect it, we usually, you can sue it, but we don't think it's a good idea.
Did you on the dot?
Oh, we're
I'm not
taping.
saying-
We can have the vice president of sales here in our
Vice president of
YouTube
nothing.
video. I would watch what you say here, Judy, because we don't typically edit these. Louis is getting some attention here.
Okay, bye-bye.
Happy holidays.
I'll see you
Take care.
Thursday.
You have a nice holiday. Yes, I'll see you Thursday.
Okay.
All right.
So, there is an interesting thing that at my first interview with another photographer was really interesting. We were talking about how you measure success. And his measure of success, I think you would probably agree with, is monetary.
Mm-hmm.
What car are you driving, or can you afford to go out and buy a $7,000 or $8,000 camera? And in as much as I know that the bottom line is a dollar value and is ultimately important to you, I think, at least for me, I not that I assume, I certainly have witnessed in you, a greater good. And I don't know if it came first or not, but you certainly have, as you said, a responsibility to the 70 people that you employ.
Mm-hmm.
So, in as much as it is about the dollar, it's about those people out there too, having a job. If it was the difference between you getting a Maserati and you keeping, I don't know how many people that employs out there, you would choose to employ those people, I personally believe.
Well, I don't like a Maserati, first of all. But yeah, no, there's no question about it. One of the reasons a company like this can be successful is you hire good people, you pay those people appropriately, and you give them the opportunity to grow and to have some ownership in whatever they're doing. One of the philosophies I learned from the Buffalo Bills back in the late 90s or the early 90s, late 80s was you have a core of successful people. With the Buffalo Bills, it was Jim Kelly and Andre Reed and Ken Hull and Thurman Thomas and Bruce Smith, and then you build around it. And we have a core of successful people. We've got Joe Grieco and Judy Mattioli, we have Frank Vecchio and Brian Rafferty and John Chakowski and Valerie. We have these people that are really the guts of this company. And you make sure that you take care of them and you give them the opportunities to grow and succeed. And then you make sure you fill around them quality people that can support what we're trying to do as a corporation. When you do that, everybody gets ahead. The boats all rise because you're all looking at the same goal, the same ambition. And it's not a goal of making money. It's a goal of growing the company, and making money will come from that. When you're contracting and when you're laying off people to make an earnings, that's not a successful company. Successful company is that you're expanding, you're adding new clients, you're bringing in new business, you're keeping your old customers, you're keeping them happy and productive and wanting to be with you. Best customers in the commercial collection are the ones that have been with me 20 years, 30 years in some cases. So it's just a matter of taking care of what you have and making sure that you hire the best people to continue that growth.
I would think, I don't know how much it differs from positions such as mine as a creative versus yours as a business person, but I do think that there's a lot of creative energy that goes into what you and a lot of your staff do. And for me, usually this time of the year, I kind of, in 16 it was earlier in the season or about halfway through the season, but usually it's this time of the year I kind of hit some wall of attrition and really I have these questions of like, all right, well, how am I going to turn 17 and how am I going to do this differently and what's my driving force? I guess you've been at this for a long time, and you worked with Bernie and you've worked through a lot of different challenges through the years to be as successful as you are. I guess my question in this is what is your ultimate goal, or how do you continue to adapt and keep it interesting for yourself?
Are you here?
Yeah, what is it?
Can Stephen and I come in, or can you come in here?
Can we just get 2 more minutes?
I'll be right in.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Let me wrap this up. I'll
Yeah.
make this my last call,
Absolutely.
last discussion. Well, first of all, you as a business owner, even if it's a one-man, two-man operation, should exactly do the self-reflection. You shouldn't do it from a desperation sense or from a, oh my God, nothing's coming in. Never should do that. I learned years ago there are two sides to your business. You're growing and things are going great, and you're contracting and things aren't going so great. The mailman doesn't seem to ever come to your business, or the mailman is bringing checks by the dozens. and in both of those, you need to look at your product. So when things are downturned and things aren't doing well, is it time for you to examine exactly what kind of product you have, where you want to see the business grow, and where you want to invest your energies and channel your best successes in that direction. That's in downturn. And when things are going booming and you don't think you have enough time, you want to make sure that the product you're delivering continues to have the high quality that you've established for your business. So as long as you're always self-examining those. So this is a great opportunity for you in a small business to say, all right, this is when business is slow. It's always going to be slow at this time of year. This is when I can go back and say, in 2016, these are the things I did right. These are the things that I could have improved on. And here in 2017, here's how I'm going to make those changes. So your business will continually evolve based on that self-evaluation, self-examination. And you have to do it. And you have to do it clinically, not emotionally. If you do it emotionally, it's going to be, oh my God, the sky is falling. If you do it clinically, here's why the sky is falling and here's how I'm going to put it back. And it'll be an easy fix for you, even though it doesn't feel easy when it's money in your pocket or it's time at your business. It's an easy fix if you do it in a realistic and an examination that says, this is the reality of what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And we do this all the time. This meeting I'm going to now with Stephen the accountant is to look at what 16 was and what 17 is going to be, and why is it going to be that way. It's all part of the same thing.
Well, Bob, I always appreciate it. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
All
Thank
right.
you. Louis, you got to stay here.